We're now joined by LA Galaxy head coach Greg Vanney. We'll start with questions with, all right, we'll just go ahead with Josh Guessman. Go ahead, Josh.
Hey, Greg, congratulations on the win. Maybe look back a little bit at this
Recording in
team.
progress.
Maybe look back a little bit on this team, maybe more than 10 games ago, whenever seemed to be some struggles going on. The team wasn't clicking. Lots of things weren't working for you guys. And now to see the team sort of close out the last maybe 10 or 12 games like this, where do you think all that comes from?
Yeah, look, I think a couple things are important. Thanks for the congratulations. I think first, I'd kind of been saying all through the summer when we came back after the two big wins against LAFC and Austin, that our midfield physically was just struggling at the time. A lot of guys with injuries or playing with injuries. Our numbers were light. Even the guys who were playing, I thought were pushing through. And the way we want to play, we want to control the ball. You got to control the midfield. I felt like we lacked connection. We lacked control of the middle of the park. And so as guys started to get healthy, as we started to make the additions of Gaston and Ricky and getting now Vic and Sash and Daniels keeps coming along, and Mark has had a great season, and he started to get healthy. As that group of guys in the midfield started to really come along, then we really started to find our consistency, our balance, our control, the things that we need to play the way we ultimately would want to play and to be successful within our vision. So I think all those things started to come together. I think as you start to do that and you start to get momentum, you start to build confidence, you start to build a little belief, you start to build that connection with each other. It's easy when you're inconsistent, to get a little bit down or get disappointed or look for those reasons for inconsistency. So once we started to get consistent, then I think the group started to take the steps forward. So again, I think we're finishing in a good note, but the next game won't look like anything like the last 34. It's now we're into a tournament where it's a knockout event, and we got to come with even higher intensity than what we've seen through most of the season, and we've got to do so, quickly and just find that. But I think this is a group, honestly, that when I look in their eyes and when I've talked to them over the course of this week, they envy the challenge that's in front of them, and now we just need to go answer the bell when it comes next week. We're excited to do it in front of our fan base. After all of what's gone on in the season, we've got a home game in our stadium with the next game on the line. So we're looking forward to it. I think our fans are excited about that, I'm sure, and our guys are excited to be in front of them for this one.
Outside of allowing that early goal, you guys seem like you were fairly well in control for most of the match. This team has had a couple of comebacks, as I think you pointed out, but for the most part, when you guys have allowed the first goal, you haven't won a lot of games. What does that say this late in the season?
Yeah, again, I think there's some clarity, there's belief. I thought even in the early stretch of the game, we were getting chances, we were getting to where we wanted to get to on the field, and with a lot of our possessions. It was just going to be about managing the transitions, some of the vulnerabilities that could come from that. But I felt like we were getting to good spots. We gave up a goal against the run of play, which is always what you're trying to guard against when you play teams like Houston and others when we have so much of the ball. So I wasn't concerned so much that we weren't going to score goals or that we weren't going to get our chances to get ourselves back in the game. I just wanted to make sure that our concentration behind the ball, our intensity, our attention to detail, all of those things that we're going to need as we continue to move into the playoffs were tight. And I think, again, when we got down, I think maybe it was a little bit of a punch in the gut to say, hey, we got to just sharpen up some things. We can't take things for granted, and it became a little bit tidier and it became a little better as the game progressed.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah.
Next, we'll go to Sydney Hunter.
Hey, Greg, Sydney Hunt, MLSsoccer.com. First off, congrats on the win, of course, playoffs. You mentioned Ricky earlier. Of course, he scored. Chicharito scored today. Those guys are kind of in really good form headed into playoffs. How did they kind of build on what they've done over these past few matches here, going into really that knockout stage that you just talked about?
Yeah, I think their successes coincided with the group's success. Obviously, Ricky's addition, Gaston's addition, which brought a lot of clarity to our midfield in terms of who's going to play the six. It's freed up Mark to be two-way. Ricky is a little bit of a two-way guy, but he also can build some speed into the attacks. He likes sometimes to drop a little lower, but he picks up the ball and he gets going, and he can find himself in good finishing positions. Javi benefits from us when we can play with speed and we can play with tempo and we can get behind the back line and create some space for his movements. And obviously when you get a striker who's in form, that's a wonderful thing. His confidence is going. He had some good looks tonight. Obviously finished the one with class. So, I think it's pieces fitting together, the tempo of the game being correct. Our intentions aren't just to keep the ball, they are to keep the ball and try to hurt the opposition, which is leading us again to some good looks on goal, some good opportunities. Guys like Rick and Javi have to be on the end of some of those chances for sure, and they've been able to find some. And Ricky's been outstanding and also helping us to set up chances, as has Gaston. And Mark's work is always so important for our team. So again, that's kind of been the formula. We got to keep going. And Sam is giving us good minutes. Douglas and the guys that are coming in on those wings are giving us good minutes as well. So.
I think you mentioned obviously the opportunity to play in front of your home fans up in Carson. What does that say really about the character of the team, considering, and we already touched on this a little bit a few minutes ago, what does that say about the character of the team from top to bottom, considering kind of the form y'all were in, even a few weeks ago?
Yeah, I mean, the character of the group is strong. Again, it's about momentum. It's about finding some rhythm together. Again, we as our midfield got healthy, and then we started to implement some new players like Gaston and Ricky, and sometimes that's not just a turnkey when you implement new faces, especially as impactful as those guys can be. It took us a little time to again establish the rhythm, the connection, the timing, the relationships, things like that. But as we've gotten more opportunities, the guys have certainly grown together. When we stay intentional in terms of our attacks, then we become dangerous. And then it's just about the defensive side for us and everybody contributing on that side of things. So, and that's going to be the playoffs. It's really going to be about also defending well and matching the intensity of the games and competing and earning the right to play. It's not going to just come out and be space on the field for us to play. We've got to come out and we've got to step out and really, really compete from the start. Those guys are winners. They've played in big games, as have a lot of our guys, and these are going to be big games that we need that experience because we don't have a ton of playoff experience. So we need the experience that those guys have in the biggest games to step in and be ready to play and be motivated.
Nice. Good luck, Greg.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Damian Calhoun.
Hey, Greg. In your 2 years here, there have been a lot of moving pieces on and off the roster. But as for you, how satisfying is it to get this group, like you say, into this tournament in your second year here?
Yeah, I'm excited for the group because I think, again, it's a group that with the bigger the challenges in front of them, I think the more concentration, the more motivation, the more attention that they have to the moment. I think this group has that capacity. You get that when you get guys who've played at the level of Barcelona and others and Real Madrid and all the ones that have been there. So I think this group is looking forward to this. This is what players ultimately come to LA for, is to try to win the championship. And now we have the tournament to go win the championship. And I find and I suspect that the intensity, the concentration, all that's going to even find another level this week, which is important. But I think last year we were a little unlucky at the very end not to be in the playoffs. I mean, we were 5 minutes out of the playoffs last year. We didn't want to get down to the last game this year playing for the playoffs. What we really wanted to do is find the consistency that we found down the stretch, and now we've got to use our momentum and our quality and our competitive desire to really go out and now compete at home in front with our fans behind us, one game at a time.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Greg.
All right, thanks everyone.
Next, we have Gaston Brugman.